team that finished right behind McKinney North last year in District 17 4A was McKinney, coached by Alex Pantarotto, now in his 18th year with the Lionettes. And they went to the second round of the playoffs last year before bowing out just like North. And Alex, you're 2-2-2 here in the early stages of this season. What have you seen from your team so far?
I've seen a lot of growth, even though we have played very difficult teams. 5A schools, we managed to play well and sometimes even dominating the game. So I was very happy with the outcome.
We look at some of the highlights from the early portion of this season. First, a scrimmage against Lovejoy. These are always beneficial in your sport. Early in the season, scrimmaging several teams. You also scrimmaged Boyd after playing
Correct.
Lovejoy here.
Correct. I think what it does is kind of breaks the ice from coming from a club season to a high school season. It also gives us the opportunity that this is not part of your record. So you get to play several good teams without saying, okay, we have a negative record now all of a sudden. So.
And you also participated in the Frisco tournament a couple of weeks ago, beat Aledo, lost to Plano and Plano East, two 5A schools that offer stiff competition. In fact, right here, the 2-1 loss to the Plano Wildcats. You also had a draw with Frisco Liberty. Overall, what did you learn about your team in that event in Frisco?
Well, we learned that as a coaching staff that McKinney has some talent. The key is really to find a common objective as a team in terms of strategy, in terms of how we manage the game throughout the 80 minutes that we play. And I think the girls are finally understanding that. Something that I think we're better than last year in that part of the game.
As you mentioned before we just came on, realignment is on the way. Later this week, you will finally figure out exactly where you'll be for the next 2 years. You fully expect that McKinney will move up to the 5A level. And so, therefore, it's good to see the kind of competition that you will face on a daily basis. Plano, Plano East. And while they were a pair of one-goal losses, 2-1 to Plano, 1-0 to Plano East, there were several positives to take from those two matchups.
Yes, but let me say this. The first thing that it caught my attention is the amount of players that they handle. Last Friday when we played Allen High School, they had on the roster 35 players.
Unreal.
And I said, how do you play 35 players? So I asked the coach, and Kevin said, well, I only played 20 players. But still, it's an enormous amount of players that they have, something that we don't enjoy yet to have. So the selection of players becomes a lot more difficult in terms of who do you want to be on the field without sacrificing the flow of the game and things like that. I'd rather coach a 22-team roster, 22-player roster, because it allows you to scrimmage and practice. It allows you to have some options for every given game. But next year, we're going to be seeing those rosters, and there are some coaches that just put 11 new players in, and they're full of energy, and you come in on the last 10 minutes of the game or last 15 minutes of the game, and you're running out of energy. And so it's going to be a challenge. The good thing for us is that back when we were in 5A, McKinney learned a very, very good lesson because when we moved back to 4A, we had like an edge coming into 4A, and that's when we won the state championship.
You beat Allen 2-0 just last week. Really an impressive win for this group early on, like we're talking about, against 5A competition. What was working well for you in this one?
I just told the girls that this game was critical for us. It was critical because we were coming with 1-2-2 record. We could have gone with 3 losses if we had lost this game. I told the girls that it was urgency, really, in terms of winning this game. So they really show up with everything we needed to win that game. And again, they had 35 players on the roster, and most of them are D1 players. So I was impressed. That first half that we played was almost perfect. I really get goosebumps when my teams play the way I ask them to play, and I was elated to have won that game. And it was my debut as a bus driver.
There you go. Really?
Yes.
You've added that to your responsibilities now,
Yes,
have you,
that's
Alex?
one more responsibility. I'm glad that my debut came with a win.
Excellent. Well, as we saw that goal by Lizzie Navarrete to cap the scoring, you say that setup from end to end, overall the prettiest goal you have seen in 18 years, the best goal overall that you've seen in 18 years as McKinney's head coach.
I mean, I tried to think back on all the goals, and of course, we're talking about hundreds of goals that we have scored in the amount of games that we play in 18 years. And it was incredible. But it was incredible because how the girls handle the ball, the 1-2 touch pass. I was very, very happy to see it happen.
You talk about boatloads of goals. Well, you lost 86 goals and 77 assists when Abby Smith moved on to Indiana, where she's now starting as a freshman. It's kind of a shock to the system to not have Abby on the field, right?
Yes, and I think there is an adjustment time that we have to go through, because you have to see who is going to pick up the responsibility of scoring. And Abby was our leading scorer, and he was a captain. And after we lost her, I said, well, somebody has to come through and replace her. Slowly we're finding certain things on the field that will help us score more goals.
Lizzie Navarrete, Natalie Throneberry, even a freshman in Lauren Neely, they are being counted on to help replace that scoring. It's going to be a collective effort, obviously. You don't have that one superstar like an Abby Smith to put up 30 goals a season. What have those offensive stars shown you so far?
Well, the willingness to work is the number one thing. I always preach about that we need to not to be selfish in terms of taking some unnecessary shots, that we need to give the ball to the player who is in the best position at any given time. And I think slowly the girls are capturing that message, and they're delivering for us.
Senior Liz Zupanik is going through a position change from forward, midfielder last year, now to your sweeper. How has that adjustment been for Liz so far?
Well, I talked to her before the season, and I said, Liz, you know, there's a good chance that I may try you as a sweeper. I wasn't very happy last year with that position, and Liz, not only that she is a senior, but she has a lot of speed. She has good ball handling, so I think she's doing well. There's also a growth on that position for her. But she's adapting quickly, and I'm very happy for her.
Goalkeeper is a position that's really been up in the air since Kendall Winston graduated, and now you have a sophomore in Madeline Schober between the pipes. What do you like about her?
Well, she's a good athlete. That's the number one thing I think is required to be a good goalkeeper. You have to be a good athlete. You have to be somebody who can jump, throw yourself on the ground. I mean, you have to be aggressive, and she has those characteristics. She lacks of experience, but I see that willingness. Also, Abby Gary is another player who they're both fighting for a starting position. I want it to be a healthy competition between them, and so I told him that practice was going to decide who starts in any given game, and I think that competition is helping both of them become a better goalkeeper.
And whoever is in goal is certainly being helped by Nicole Gostick and Tony Badali so far, two backs who are playing well for you here in the early season.
Yes, I think they've been critical on protecting our goalkeepers, and I think I can not emphasize the fact that our defense is strong. We're still adjusting to certain things, but again, we are a week from starting the season, and I think we'll do well.
You close out the non-district coming up Tuesday against the defending 4A state champion, Frisco Wakeland. What do you look for in that matchup?
Survival first. I think we're going to be facing a very good team. Of course, they're coming to McKinney, so maybe that will be a little help on that. I feel like if the girls can somewhat reproduce the first half against Allen High School, we'll have a good game. I trust my girls. I think we'll have a great game on Tuesday. I hope a lot of fans will come and watch because we play a very friendly style of soccer. So when people sit down and they say, "Wow, how do they get to do those things?" But we work the whole year on that, and hopefully we peak somewhat in the middle of the season, of the district season, so we can be successful.
Speaking of that district season, it gets underway later this week. Friday, you open with Prosper, and it should be another fascinating district race. Of course, the defending champion McKinney North. Prosper looks hot here early on in the non-conference. What's going to decide the winner in 17-4A this season?
I think every game is going to count. At the beginning of the year, I thought that Prosper it's in a very good position in the sense that they're growing fast. They're getting more athletes. They're very physical. But I trust my girls. I think we're going to have a very solid season, and we'll see at the end who survives this.
Alex, we appreciate the time. Best of luck.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
You got it. Alex Pantarotto, head coach of the McKinney Lionettes, who begin the chase for a 6th consecutive playoff berth. And that is our show for today. Next week, boys soccer on the docket. Remember, if it's McKinney ISD Athletics, it's on Sports Talk. I'm Ted Emrich. See you next time.